Welcome to the October 2015 edition of Financial Empowerment, a production of the California Society of CPAs and Cal CPA Institute. I'm Bill Spaniel. Newspapers and magazines seem to have an abundance of articles about the need for people to prepare financially for their retirement years. Relatively few articles focus on other aspects of retirement that we should consider, such things as housing, leisure activities, and health, for example. We're talking with Los Angeles forensic accountant Susan Carlisle over Skype about her thoughts on this subject. Hello, Susan. Welcome to Financial Empowerment.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
The first thing I'd like to ask you, Susan, is it better for retirees to stay in their current house or consider moving elsewhere?
Well, Bill, inertia is a powerful force. It keeps people doing whatever they have been doing until they're faced with a crisis that requires them to change. And housing is one of those things that bring on these feelings, because the default position is to stay in your home. And people rationalize why they really need to stay there until they're carried out of their house. But that's not really what is often the best plan for them. People need to approach the next phase of their lives and evaluate their financial, emotional, health needs to make a rational decision as to whether or not to stay in their house or to move somewhere else.
Well, I also imagine one should consider such things as grandchildren, other relatives, and friends. How do those factor into your decision about where you should be located?
Sure. Well, we know that the quality of our relationships have the greatest impact on our health and emotional well-being. So one of the most important factors to consider as to where you're going to live is who's going to be in the reasonable proximity to their new home. Where are your children going to live? Where are the grandchildren going to live? Where are your good friends and relatives going to be living? And how close do you want to be to them? Next, you've got to be able to afford the home. So some retirees are reluctant to leave the big house, as you mentioned, where their kids grew up. But maybe now their kids are long gone. So they have to think about, are they moving from a high-cost real estate market to a lower-cost real estate market? And if not, then downsizing might make sense. They need to carefully budget their fixed costs in retirement. And housing is often the most expensive cost that they're going to be faced with. So that because it includes the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and upkeep, or maybe just rent. The bigger the home, usually the higher the maintenance costs. That being said, I have clients who sold their large, expensive home in Orange County and moved to a small community in New Mexico because they wanted to save money. After establishing themselves in the new home for 9 months, they found themselves isolated and lonely. So they had to pack up their house in New Mexico, move back to California, and they bought a condo, a small condo, close to where their friends lived nearby.
I'm sure a lot of people are concerned about how to keep active in their retirement years, and always there are those health concerns.
Yes, you need to make a list of what's really important to you. Health's often on the top of that list. And so you want to make sure wherever you move to, there are abundant doctors and hospitals with good reputations nearby. You also want to investigate the opportunities for an active lifestyle. We might be looking at many, many years where you're still interested in going out and walking and bicycling and swimming. And if that's where you're going, then you want to know what's the weather like, what's the air quality like. People who are interested in outdoor activities want to know what the surroundings are going to be like, not just what the housing situation is going to be. And something we don't often mention is seniors may feel more vulnerable in their new communities. So they want to seek out places where the crime rates are low. And for those who enjoy indoor activities, you might want to see if there's a college nearby where you can take some classes. How about cultural events? Where are the theaters, the museums, the music venues? These are the things you want to look for aside from medical and financial issues.
You know, people identify so much with their work, they often feel useless in retirement. Any suggestions there?
Yes. Many people would prefer not to stop working. For them, I hate to say it, but it feels like death when they don't have a job to get up and go to in the morning. However, most people, with certain exceptions, if given the chance, would like to work less. So the options are to work fewer hours in the pre-retirement job if you can. And if not, find a part-time job in your new location, or if you're fortunate enough to have the funds, maybe buy a small business that you can run easily. If you're going to be looking for a new job or a small business, then you want to move to a town or city where the economy is growing.
In California, we depend so much on our automobiles to get around, but the elderly often have trouble, with reaction times and other aspects of driving, but they're still reluctant to give up their licenses.
It's very difficult to be objective about your own driving habits and abilities. Your initial response is to hold on to that driver's license and that car as long as you can, because ever since you were a teenager, that represented freedom and independence, and nobody wants to be dependent on someone else. So it's often a very sad day when you have to give up the keys to the car. There are tools, however, online to help you determine what your reaction time is and how good your driving skills are. So probably everyone over a certain age, and me included, might be taking those tests on an annual basis. Also, you should be paying attention to the passengers in your car. If they're looking a little worried when you're driving, maybe it's time to have that talk with your son or daughter-in-law about giving up the keys.
Taxes are another aspect of making retirement decisions. And I don't just mean income tax. There are property taxes too.
That's right. Property taxes are a large segment of your housing costs, but so are income taxes. The good news is on Social Security, only a portion of Social Security is taxed for federal income tax. And some people with very low incomes pay no tax on their Social Security at all. And there's certain states, California, for example, that don't tax your Social Security benefits. But other than that, you should be watching your distributions from your IRAs and your other retirement plans, because over 70 and a half, as you know, we have to take the required minimum distributions each year. Otherwise, there are hefty penalties if you don't take them.
Anything else you would like to add, Susan?
There's one thing. I know that we can help ourselves by maintaining a healthy lifestyle. We have enough tools right now. We're very fortunate to be able to access free or inexpensive tests, or in the neighborhood to monitor blood pressure, heart rate, and blood sugar. I wear a band each day, which is hidden here under my jacket, that tells me actually how many steps I've taken, how many stairs I've climbed, what my heart rate is, and how many calories I've burned. So it reminds me to keep moving. That's critical when it's so easy to remain sedentary at any age, and especially after we quit working. But monitoring vital signs is not enough. We have to have our annual physicals done. So find out the most cost-effective way to have them paid for by Medicare or your supplemental Medicare plan.
You might want to keep in mind Susan's suggestions as you consider preparing for your retirement years. We appreciate your listening to Cal CPA's Financial Empowerment Program, which was produced in October 2015. If you would like to comment about our show, have a question for a CPA, or would like to suggest topics for future programs, write us at financialempowerment@calcpa.org, or simply visit www.calcpa.org. You can search there for a California CPA who can help you save on taxes, better manage your investments, or budget for those rainy days even sunny California sometimes has. Just click on the Find a CPA link. This is Bill Spaniel, and you've been listening to edition 178 of Financial Empowerment, a production of the California Society of CPAs and Cal CPA Institute.